host, Artemis Black. For some people, it is easier to write down their thoughts and feelings. While many will use a daily diary, others use a journal and simply pen something when the mood strikes.
Dear Diary, you're not what I was expecting to get for my birthday. I don't know why Dad gave me this useless thing. I don't like to write anyway. But I suppose I could start. Who knows? Perhaps one day it will be found and my thoughts will save mankind from some horrible thing. Okay, so here it goes. Today was my birthday, and this diary was a present from my dad. He always, and I mean always, knows exactly what not to get me. Last year it was some sort of a doll. I mean, at my age.
Think of it as a collector's item.
But, Daddy, don't you think that I'm too old for dolls?
Oh, Lisa, you'll never be too old for me. You'll always be my little girl.
His little girl. Like, he never wants me to grow up. I mean, I already know what he does for a living, if you can call it that.
Lisa, please understand I have to go away on business.
So who's the target this time?
I prefer to call them clients.
Oh, right. I'm sure after you kill them, they feel much better.
Now look, young lady, I won't have you talking that way. My job has kept a roof over your head, food in your stomach, and enough clothes to open your own store.
But you're never home. You're always flying off somewhere, and I hardly ever see you.
I'm truly and deeply sorry that you feel that way. Look, when I get back tomorrow, we will go to that new restaurant that you've been hounding me about.
Really, Daddy? You promise?
I promise.
But Daddy didn't keep his promise. I remember when his boss, Mr. Sloan, came to tell me what happened.
Hello, Lisa.
Do I know you?
No, we have never been formally introduced. I worked with your father. I'm Mr. Sloan.
Won't you come in?
I'm afraid that I have some rather bad news.
Where's my father?
Maybe you should sit down.
I don't want to sit down. Tell me where my father is.
He's gone, Lisa. He was killed while on assignment. I'm sorry.
Were you with him?
As a matter of fact, I was. How much do you know about what your father did?
I knew everything.
Do you know if he kept any records? Papers? Files?
What if I did? I wouldn't tell you.
That would be a mistake, young lady.
Don't you dare call me that. Only Daddy calls me that.
Your daddy is dead. Do you understand? I'm here to collect anything that might be damaging to the organization.
Well, isn't that just too bad?
It will be for you if you don't tell me where your father kept his files.
Fine. His office is through that door.
This door here?
Yeah, that's the one.
I can't see anything. Where's the light switch?
Just right inside on the left.
I can't feel.
Maybe I should have told him. Maybe I shouldn't have sent him to the cellar door. Maybe I should have warned him that Daddy had taken the stairs out the week before. He was going to build new ones, but his job kept him from doing that. I heard Mr. Sloan fall the whole 10 feet down. And the snap of his neck when he hit the concrete floor. It made such a wonderful sound.
I find that writing my thoughts down is quite therapeutic. It seems to calm the ideas that tend to run through the mind. A sort of self-exorcism. I'll be back shortly with Act 2. Journals and diaries are kept by many famous people. Charles Darwin, Anne Frank, and even Mark Twain kept notes that have been published. Then there are the others, the more disturbing ones like Jeffrey Dahmer, H.H. Holmes, and even Jack the Ripper.
Dear Diary, some men came today looking for Mr. Sloan. Naturally, they couldn't find him. No one will ever find him. We have a very large furnace in the basement. Cutting up the body was easier than I thought. The toughest part were the legs. The bone was so hard to cut through. I threw all those pieces into the furnace, but I saved the head for last. I let the fire burn down to the embers before I placed Mr. Sloan's head in. He died with his eyes wide open. I looked into them as the fire burned them away.
Hey, Lisa.
Hello, Brian.
I heard about your dad. I'm really sorry.
It's okay. You want to come in?
I suppose so.
So, is that the only reason that you came over?
I guess. I just came to see how you were doing, and if you needed anything.
I'm very capable of taking care of myself.
I just remember how close you were to your dad.
Now, how would you know how close we were? When was the last time you even said hello to me?
Look, Lisa, I was just trying to be nice.
Don't you remember how to have fun?
Yes, I remember how to have fun.
Brian, I'm sorry. I was only kidding. Look, I just made some cookies and I have some lemonade. Want some?
I suppose so.
I'll be right back.
Man, what a weirdo. No wonder she doesn't have a boyfriend. Hey, what's this? Looks like a diary. Dear Diary. Wow, that's original. I thought he would never go under. Wait. What? After I bashed his head in with the oar, he fell in. And I thought that would be it. Instead, he tried to climb back into the canoe. He almost tipped it over. I had to bash him again. I watched his eyes roll back into his head before he finally went down. I saw the small bubbles rise up until there was no more. I saved the piece of skull that was stuck to the oar. I filed it into a lovely piece for my bracelet.
Where did you get that?
What? Oh, this, I found it just lying here on the table.
That's mine. You have no right to.
Lisa, what is this?
It's private.
What are these initials on top of the page?
Brian, I really liked you. Just give it back and forget you ever saw it.
JB? Hey, You don't mean little Jackie from...
Brian, you really shouldn't have read my personal journal.
I saw the news, Lisa. They fished him out of Moon Lake last week. Lisa, you didn't really...
His eyes looked so funny.
Lisa?
After I hit him the second time, I saw how his skull just collapsed. Blood was pouring out of his ears and mouth. He looked so funny.
Oh, Jesus. Really killed him.
You really shouldn't have read my diary, Brian. Dear Diary, all right, I know I shouldn't have done it. I could have just told Brian that it was just a story I was working on, but he made me so mad. The blood drained from his face. I simply walked over to the front door, locked it, turned and faced him. He wasn't sure what to do. He knew what to do when I jabbed the knife into his stomach, twisting it over and over again. Just like Daddy taught me.
Elisa Bustamante was only 15 years old when she murdered her 9-year-old neighbor because, in her own words, she thought it would be amazing. She took the time to document in her diary her emotions prior to and after the killing, calling it, quote, pretty enjoyable. I'll be back shortly with Act 3. Many people keep a journal of their daily activities. I knew one lady who wrote down every meal that she had each day, but I have never known someone who kept a diary of murder.
Dear Diary, summer is finally here. I thought that I might have to take a class during the summer, but the teacher saw things my way. I knew she wasn't dead yet by the way her brain pumped outside of her skull. I took care of it. And saved the pieces of her skull. They were such a nice addition to my bracelet. Yes?
I assume that you are Lisa?
Yes, you assume correctly, Miss.
Masterson. Miss Brooke Masterson.
What can I do for you, Miss Masterson?
Perhaps we can go in and discuss the situation.
And what situation might that be?
I believe it would be very prudent on your part to invite me inside.
And why should I do that?
Does the name Mr. Sloan mean anything to you? You have a very nice house, Lisa.
How do you know Mr. Sloan?
Yes, a very nice home. Quite cozy, I would say.
How do you know Sloan?
I know that he came to this house. I know that he spoke to you. And I know that he never came back. As a matter of fact, no one has seen him or heard from him since he came here.
You're right, Miss Masterson.
Oh, you may call me Brooke.
Very well, Brooke. Mr. Sloan worked with my daddy. He did come here to tell me what happened. What happened to him?
A very convincing performance, Lisa. But it won't work on me.
What are you talking about?
Mr. Sloan is my employee. He was sent here for a specific reason. I can assure you that it was not to give you the news about your father.
So if you were his employer, then you also knew my dad.
I knew of him, yes. His instructions were always cleared through me. I never had the pleasure of actually meeting him.
You missed out, Brooke. He was a very kind-hearted man, despite his occupation.
I'm sure that he was. Now, why don't we stop whatever this is and give me the files that your father kept on our organization?
I don't know what you were talking about.
Why, of course you do. Don't you think that we have been keeping a watch on this house? Some very interesting things have come to our attention.
Like, what things?
People coming over, but never leaving.
Perhaps they went out the back door. I don't know.
A very nice try, young lady. But it doesn't work. Now, why don't we get this over with? I promise you that if you give up the files now, your death will be quick and painless.
Dear Diary, I've never been so close to being actually scared. She was cold, heartless, and I knew that I was going to die. So I started to cry. It actually worked. She tried to comfort me. I told her that I would give her the files if she would agree to have some cookies and tea with me. I told her there were almond cookies. I didn't take any, naturally. The arsenic worked very quickly. Her head made the largest pendant on my bracelet. Dear New Diary, in honor of my father, I decided to buy a new journal. After I disposed of Miss Masterson, I left the house. In flames, of course. I think that everyone thinks I died in the fire. Daddy left me plenty of money to live off of, and this new town is so nice. So, a new year begins. Happy sweet 16 to me.
Lisa closes her new diary and smiles. She sits and ponders who her next victim will be. I'll be back shortly. The youngest serial killer on record was caught in 2007. He was only 8 years old when he murdered his sister, cousin, and a neighbor's child. He was sent to a home until his 18th birthday. No one knows what became of him after he was released. Our cast included Crimson McKenzie, Dave Arkipov, Robert Jackson, Raven Adams, and Jemma Mitchell. The story was edited by Crimson McKenzie, and the entire production was under the direction of Winslow Swan. And now, a preview of our next tale.
Did you get the autopsy finished, Doc?
Yes,
and it's very troubling.
In what way?
The body was found in an alleyway, but the internal organs were found 6 feet away, completely drained of blood.
I know, Doc. So, what could have done something like that?
That is what's concerning me, because the organs, every single one of them, came out of the body, through the mouth. I don't have a clue as to what could have possibly done that.
This is your host, Artemis Black, inviting you to return with us through the doorway to Nightmare for another adventure into the world of your terrifying imagination. Until next time, slumber peacefully.
Epilogue. The butler did it.